Cassidy here, and this is Sprouting Artistry. This is another new series or format that I am introducing on this channel. This is actually something I wanted to introduce for a while, but I just feel like life has gotten in the way of me feeling like I can do it well. And if I'm honest, I don't actually know if, as life is now, I will be able to do this well. But you're seeing this, so at least I have enough gumption to try. Before I get into what it is, I'll kind of explain why I'm doing this. The last 3.5 years when I've been creating on YouTube, it's mostly been focused on consumption. Why we consume, how we consume, the way it changes us and shapes our beliefs, and how do we participate in that process of consumption more responsibly. And what was underlying all of that conversation about consumption was this realization that the patterns that I participated in when I consumed were affecting deeply the ways that I created. In the last 10 years, I have worked professionally in the field of entertainment. I have been a freelance filmmaker working in a variety of stuff, from short narrative to live comedy, all the way to sort of a feature documentary. And in all of that creation, I realized how deeply the way that I consume affected what I felt like I needed to create. And I knew that if I wanted to create anything worthwhile, meaningful, anything that would be true, good, and beautiful, I had to wrestle with this way that I consumed and understand what I believed and why. And so I used YouTube to tackle that relationship I had with consumption and trying to look towards a better pattern with consuming. But when I learned I was going to be a mother, became pregnant, I decided I was going to put a pause on all of my creative endeavors, including this YouTube stuff, so I could really focus on that new phase in my life and understand what that meant. And it gave me a lot of time to kind of think through life and the things that I learned from my creative endeavors in the past. But it also put me into this sort of funky consumption cycle where I was consuming a lot more than I was creating, and there was this deficit that I felt in that consumer-creator dynamic. When I was living in America, I was constantly creating. I was obviously creating here on YouTube, but there was always a slew of projects that I was working on that I never really talked about here, but they kind of scratched that creative itch that I had and helped me to not only temper my own consumption, but think really practically through some of these questions of creation and the way we create and the ethics of all of those things. And so I didn't need to talk about it much. But since I stopped creating, it kind of left that hole where, similar to how I felt when I started the Information Addicts podcast, it was this kind of need to wrestle with and understand the process of creation. And if I didn't do that, it was just going to infect my world in all of these funky ways. And so I figured, why not start tackling some of these questions of creation on this platform? And that's what Sprouting Artistry will be. I see Sprouting Artistry very much as a sister project to the Information Addicts podcast. The Information Addicts podcast is all about consumption. This is very much focusing on creation and how we do that well. I really want to focus on what it means to create sustainably and how we can look at other creators and art and things that are put out into the world in these artistic endeavors and what we can learn from them. And hopefully I can unpack and help make sense of all of the creative endeavors that I have been able to participate in the last decade. And at the end of the day, I hope that this is more than just a place that is helpful for me to work through some of my creative questions, but hopefully helps other people who are interested in creating and want to create better can come and wrestle with those questions as well. That is all I have for today. I will definitely be putting out more in the future, and I hope that it becomes a helpful place where we can really learn what it is to create well and try to do that in the pursuit of beauty, truth, and goodness.